Can everybody hear me?
Hey.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, buddy. You
I'm
got
trying
Terrance
to
in?
add. I'm trying to add him, but it says he's got to download the newest Facebook app.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Let me go see what
I don't want to. I was gonna message him, but I don't want to lose the call.
All right. I've messaged him a couple times to what you said, upgrade it or download the newest app or whatever.
Well, let's try. Let me try it again. It's not wanting to list him as a viewer for some reason. Good thing I started this a few minutes early. I should have started a little sooner.
I'll jump off and you can try to add him.
No, I think I can do all three. It's just not showing him as a guest for some reason on my viewer list. All right. I see a Tina Jefferson, but not him.
I got Terrance on mine.
Can you bring him on the video?
It does not say. No,
Okay.
you started it.
Well, let's see.
I'll jump off. You try to get him on.
All right, we'll try that. Okay, I just sent the ad invite to Tina. Let's see if she hops on here. It says adding. I think I'm waiting for her to approve it. There you go. There we go.
You got to use this.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
How's it going, Bradley?
Good. How are you doing?
Hey,
Brian.
What's
there
going
we
on,
go.
Brian?
We got her now. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good.
So I'm in the viewers. We have about a million right now, a million two.
A lot of them watch it after it's aired, usually.
Gotcha.
So how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Dealing with a headache, but other than that, I'm good. Can everybody hear me okay?
Oh,
I know
yeah.
I can.
Cool.
So you ready to dive on into this, or you want to do a little introduction, or how do you want to start this?
Hey, let's just get into it.
All right, I'm going to start asking questions, then, if you're okay with it.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
All right, first question. What got you interested in barbecue?
Well, it'd probably be the same story as a lot of people. Back in the day, during Memorial Days weekend and during Labor Day weekend, they always have these barbecue shows on TV. I don't know, was it exactly barbecue pitmasters or not, but I know it was following teens around. And of course, cook it in the backyard. Everyone would come to your house. Oh, this is the best thing I ever ate, even though they was lying to you just to get free food. You start looking at it, it was like, wow, I would like to do that. Being a, athlete going through high school and college, you just have that competitive nature about you, which I did. And so that was just another thing to do for me. And so that's kind of how I got into things.
I think that's how a lot of us got into it.
Exactly.
I remember thinking it was a sport I could compete in because I'm not in the best physical shape, and it was a sport I could actually halfway do decent in.
Exactly, because with me, we started off with 4 softball players that was on the team, and and 3 of us was pretty nice size, and we got tired of going home Friday nights all sore. So it's like, hey, let's do something that we're not going to be sore at. So, and there we went.
At what point in your life did you think, hey, I can do this barbecue thing?
Well, when I first started, I really didn't think I could do it. It was just a thing like, we see people drink beer. We see people having fun, so we know we can do that part of it. And so we did that part of it. And our first competition, we came in dead as last. And that was not a good feeling. But I think we was number one in the party part of it. So, but it's something different because you quickly realize that what you do in the backyard, the flavor profile is 100% different than competition. So we had a lot to learn at that time. So I think after we came in dead last, we figured, hey, we're going to do this. We really need to concentrate, cut the partying out, and, try to win something. So, and I think at that time we knew that we had to learn. It's not just going by what someone told you in your backyard. Like I keep going back to, we had to really dig into this and learn about it. And eventually we started getting calls pretty early on. So we was happy about that.
I agree. Like I said, it's a whole different. I tell people this all the time. I said what I cook in my backyard and what I cook for judges is usually 2 very different things.
Very different.
So what was your first smoker, and how many different smokers do you have, and which one is your favorite?
My very first smoker was a Horizon from the Kansas City barbecue store. I can remember buying that smoker in 2008, and that's when it was still right next to. They was right next to. Then it was Oklahoma Joe's. You walk out of that side door, and you go right into the Kansas City barbecue store. And I think I remember it. It was about $1,000, and I had my wife with me. And we looked at each other. And then the guy who was selling it, he just said, just think about this. You can lower your dining bill by getting this because you're not going to want to go out and eat as much anymore. So I think that's kind of sold my wife, and she gave. And so, and that's where we made that purchase. And I call her Old Faithful. That is a really good smoker. Right now, I have a Green Mountain pellet smoker. I have a Deep South gravity fed. That's the one I cater and do competition with. I have 2 Weber kettles, and I have a smoking Gateway drum smoker. Which one I like the best? It's a toss up between the pellet smoker, the Green Mountain, and my Deep South. And simply because you can set it and forget it. Back in the day, like probably a lot of people, they always say, if you're not, if you have a smoker that you set and forget it, you're cheating. If they want to continue to believe that, let them believe that. But I'm not too old and big, to worry about trying to stoke fire every 4 to 5 minutes or an hour. So I like to set it, get it, and I can come out with the same good taste that they can, being up all night. Or,
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much people think that you should be slinging sticks all night, but I'm kind of the same way. I'd much rather get dialed in and stay there for a while.
But, you know, Bradley, that's how we all started, though. I mean, you know, that's what you see. So I don't blame him for it because I was that way once before. There's a lot of things at the stage that I'm at now that I used to do back then. Now I'm laughing a little bit at the people who saying these things, but I was there once before, and I get it. But I'm truthful and honest about it. I'll tell somebody, hey, that's, you know, I have in store all the time. Yeah, I cook my ribs for 7 hours. Yeah, you need 3 of those hours. You know, I'm sorry. So,
I know who you're
That's what
talking about.
there's a few people that I made a modification to my drum, and they're like, well, yeah, but after the first 12 hours, you know, you lose your ash and you lose all your temp. And I'm like, if I'm cooking anything for more than 12 hours, there's something wrong.
exactly.
Like, what do you do with what'd you do with the first 6 hours of that time? Like,
Yeah, I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore.
so how long was it from when you first started until when you got your first call?
It was the last competition of the second season, and we was only doing maybe 4 a year at the time. So I'm gonna make it sound a little better. I would say it was my 8th competition before I got my first call, and that was in payola, and I got second in ribs because I was the rib cook on the team. So that's all I had to worry about was ribs, and I got a second place call about the 8th cook. And we laugh all the time because sometimes I go back and look and at the KCBS scores, and I seen that, and I think I had a 172. Like a 172 now probably gets you maybe 10 through 15, you know. But I got a second place that year, and the person who had first place was uh, I'm drawing a blank, Dan at the Kansas City barbecue store. So I texted him my ribbon, and then he texted me back his trophy that he won. And he didn't beat me by very much, but, and believe it or not, I have never gotten a first place in ribs. That was the highest sack. We got first in chicken, we got first in pork, we got first in brisket. No first place call in ribs. And that was that's the highest we got. But we was more consistent in real estate. So
I have to ask this question. When did your wife start to hate you doing barbecue?
I would say probably year 4. And it wasn't even about the food or anything. It was about or money or any of that. It was about the time that I was away from her. And you know she's watching, right? So you're making me do this while she's watching.
My
Oh,
wife will
that
watch
question
this.
was from your buddy Jason Harris.
Oh Lord!
My wife will watch this later, but hers was about the 4th pork butt I did when I had it black from all the smoke I poured onto it. Because I thought when I first started barbecuing that the more smoke you poured on a piece of meat was the better.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still believe that, and not one of the ones. But you know, to go back to my wife, I say, okay, how can I make this right? How can I make her happy? So you know what they say, a man's best friend. But you know what? Our in-law is getting ready to take this dog to the pound. And you're saying you had a home late at night. So go get the dog, and at least you have that there at night to protect you. And I think after that, we was all good.
That was a good question.
No, it was. Don't pump his head up.
I agree, Jason. Mine was when she found out how much it actually costs.
My wife is pretty much, if it's going to make me happy, she's cool with it. I mean, hey, you got to be happy in life.
Yep. What selection of meat is your favorite, and which one is your least favorite, and why?
I would say right now my favorite is chicken. And And the reason why is because I can put chicken on cruise control. Chicken is the only protein that I cook that I can go by time. Everything else is about feel. It can be done at in 5 hours this day. It can be done in 6 hours the next day. But chicken is the only one I can go by time. And so I would say that's my favorite because there's really no digging into that. Probably my least favorite right now is brisket. Because as I mentioned, for the longest, I've always had at least one partner on the team with me. And that was one of the protein that, he would cook. So I didn't really have to pay attention too much to the brisket. And now I do because I cook solo. And, you can just cook the absolutely best brisket possible. I'll just take, for instance, last weekend. A couple weeks ago. Great brisket. And I got a 163. I mean, and that just hurt knowing that you just spent I'm spilling the beans, $200 on a brisket, and you got a 163. So that's kind of tough. So I would say brisket is probably the least of my favorite to cook.
Chicken, I would have to say chicken's my least favorite one, but
well, chicken's my least favorite to trim.
Yes.
But to cook, I'm all good with chicken, man. Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
What flavor profile do you like better? Sweet, spicy, or a little bit of both?
I would say a little bit of both. And that's only in competition. Competition, I want you to get that sweet starting off. And then at the end, I want you to feel just a little heat. Not much, but I want you to feel just a little heat. That's pretty much my profile for in competition. At home in the backyard, I want a little smoke, little seasoning, and I'm good. That's all I need at home. I know the last time someone asked me in the store, they asked me, what's my favorite barbecue sauce? And I went, I really don't like much sauce on my food at home. And he turned around and said, boy, you're not a very good salesman. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I've just been honest. I really don't like a lot of sauce on my food at home, I said, but if I had to pick one, then I'll show him what I would pick, but I don't like sauce at home. So sweet with a little heat in the competition, I think that'll get you a call most of the time.
Yep. Any thoughts on finishing powder?
Right now, I am using finishing powder on my chicken and my ribs. Not necessarily on my brisket unless I tried it and it needs a little bit. And pork, normally I don't because I'm trying to run really sweet on my pork. But I do not grind any of my finishing powder simply because I think it just opened up those season a little bit more, and it continues to get your meat salty. And and I'm saying this, but trust me, you may get 100 more people say, hey, I like to grind my seasoning. So there's no one way of doing it. But for me, I really don't like grinding my finishing powder. I just come right out the jar with it.
Telling all your secrets.
There's no secret in barbecue.
No, there really isn't. At what point did you decide to open Topeka BBQ shop, and how's it going with the store?
Well, I kind of opened Topeka BBQ shop by accident. And what I mean about that is I had a friend who said, hey, I want to open a secondhand store or whatever you want to call it, but I don't want the whole rent myself. I said, well, you can use that side for this. Okay, and she said, if you go in with me, I'll open it. I said, well, I could do a barbecue store on the other side. And then she decided it was going to be too much for her. And then so I was left kind of all alone, and I was was like, okay, getting ready to open this barbecue shop. But before then, I had two really good friends who had a barbecue store here in Lawrence called Grills and Grinders. And I used to help them out quite a bit with that store. And I think after the fifth year, one decided, he was going to move away, and one decided he was going to have a kid. He's not on here, so I can talk about him. He decided he wanted to have a kid at a late age. So after that, there was no way, that barbecue store was going to, manage. So they had to fold it. And I had the itch for it because, I was helping them out. I was a part of it, and I just had the itch for it. And truly, one day I wanted to open up my own barbecue store, and maybe that was just a sign for me to say, hey, you need to go out there and go ahead and do it. This is your opportunity. Because if you wait around for the perfect moment, you would never do it. Because honestly, if I would have just studied about it, I probably wouldn't open it when I did because of the location I was in. Because I was going to get a lot of foot traffic where I was. But by being there that 2.5 years, that did get my customer base up, and they did follow me when I went to the Fairlawn Plaza Mall. And now things are going great. I mean, last year around Christmas time, I had probably 75% females come in there shopping compared to males in there shopping. So it is going really great. And that is something me and my wife is looking forward to. And we're thinking that we're going to do that until we decide to not work anymore.
That's awesome. So next question. Any advice to the up-and-coming barbecue competitors?
Well, I would say the first thing first, kind of figure out why you want to do it. Don't go in thinking that, oh my God, my food is so good because, my drunk neighbor been over here every weekend and telling me how it was good. No, don't do that. Or don't get into me because you think you're finna win a lot of money. Please don't think that. So just kind of decide why you're doing this, and is it something you really want to do? And then after you realize it is something that you want to do, I would just say start looking online at videos. Do not rush and start taking classes because I've had people I'm not going to call names, but, they took classes and they still not able to duplicate what they learned in the classes because there's so much goes on to finishing. People know how to change up at the time they need. So I would say don't take this. Go online, go to YouTube, and look at some videos. I think Harry Sue from Slap Your Daddies probably have the most detailed videos out there as far as how to trim, what meat to look for. And another thing he would do, he would compare products. For instance, I looked at one, he compared Big Popper injection to Butcher's injection to Cosmo injection and give you his opinion on those. So I would say start there. Number two, go to KCBS and learn the rules because a lot of people go into it don't even know the rules. They're out there all day trimming meat because they didn't know that they could trim their meat at home. So you want to go in there and learn the rules and make everything better for you when you get out there on the competition circuit. So and then number three, it is not a party. It is not a party. You're gonna have to you got to figure out very quickly, do you want to party or do you want to compete? So I think that's going to be a really big thing. Do you want to party or do you want to compete? I remember one competition, I was getting ready to go to sleep at 9 o'clock, and I called my wife and said, guess what? I'm about to go to sleep at 9 o'clock. because my body told me, you can't do that. You can't be up to midnight. They getting up at 3 or 4, whatever your time is. You need to get some sleep. It's just like, you don't want to go to your job all hungover and, and not able to perform. And it's the same way with cooking. So decide, is it going to be a party or is it going to be a competition? And I doubt you can do both.
Yeah, I'd have to add, because I took a class before I ever started competing. And looking back on it now, I wish I would have cooked a few and then done the class, because now I know what I wish I would have paid more attention to and listened to and looked at the class, as opposed to.
Yeah. It's those minor details. I tell you, most people who's on it, excuse me, but they're going to tell you, do the exact same thing every time, all the time. You need to get your timeline and you need to do those things at the same time. It could be a 10 or 15 minutes, from each other, but for the most part, you want to try to do the same thing at the same time all the time, so and that's more important to me, I think, than anything. And I watch videos. There's certain videos that I still would watch probably a Sunday after a competition, just to keep my mind frame fresh in that barbecue mode. What did I miss? What did I miss? It's always about timing, executing, things like that. It's never about flavor profile, because we all know there's about 2 or 3 rubs and 1 sauce that anybody can use. And, if you cook it right, you're going to get your chances are good to get a call. So don't get hung up on this flavor profile,
All right, Jason Harris, what do you think is the most overrated barbecue myth other than low and slow?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah. What do you think is the most overrated barbecue myth other than low and slow?
Oh, that's a good question. The most overrated barbecue myth other than low and slow. Man, that's a good question, Jason. Well, it's not a myth, but I can tell you a conversation that I had with a customer not too long ago, and maybe I'll come up with one then. But, he was under the impression that, okay, brisket turn in is at 1:30. So I want to get my brisket done close to, 1:30 as possible, so I can rest just a little bit. And then exactly, And, those was one of the aha moments that I learned from watching a video. I see to where, I'll call his name, Slaps. His pork butt was done about 8:30. And you don't turn that into 1:00. So people think you need to just cook up until the time that your meat needs to be turned in. You want to rash your meat. So just make sure that you get that done quick as possible, and you can just move on and concentrate on your smaller meats like your ribs and chicken. So your big cuts of meat, get those done pretty quickly. So, Jason, that was a good question, and sorry I wasn't prepared for that one. But if someone can learn something just from what I said, that'll be good. Get your big cuts of meats done.
What was your biggest setback at a competition that you had to overcome?
So I'm one of the ones who don't like to take more than I'm going to use. So I remember one competition, I had just enough sauce that I was going to use for my ribs. And that sauce ended up on the ground. And so, yeah. So now, because to me, I'm superstitious. I'm thinking my rub, my smoke, my sauce. And I had to go with another sauce, and it really didn't go so well for me, that competition. I cooked it well. I thought it was a good cook, but because I had to use some different sauce, it didn't go well. And speaking of that, last my last comp, for some reason, my smoker would not keep temp. So Bo, he's on here. He came over there, and when he opened the firebox, the temperature went up. When we closed it, the temperature went down. So I had to, from 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock, deal with my firebox, open it to get it up to about 315, close it, get it back down to about 295, open it again. I had to do that from 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock by myself, no help, to keep my temp up. So that was probably the biggest one for me.
All right, Jason, worst and best barbecue competition memories.
I do remember being out and they don't have it anymore, out at Olathe. I think it was at the mall out at Olathe. And I was having a good time that night. I mean, I was having a good time. Normally when I wake up, it's still dark out to start my ribs. So this time when I woke up, it was light out. I said, oh, shit. And I looked. It was like already 7 o'clock. And that's when I think I was starting ribs at 7 o'clock. And that's when I was waking up. And so I had to start the grill. And all I knew then was 275, So I had to go over 300 to cook, to try to get it done. My ribs came out all black and burnt. That was probably my worst. I just like to say I drank a little too much that night. And probably my best memories was last year in McLeod when I took GC. That was my first and only GC. And people think I'm crazy when I tell them this story, but I really had a good feeling about that. Because the 2 years before, we finished third. The very next year, we finished second. And then there was 2 years in between. I think it was the COVID year and the year I had I want to say I had a catering gig. And then when I went back, I'm like, well, I got a third, got a second, so this is going to be first. And sure enough, I took first there, and I just had that feeling that I would, and that was a really good moment for me to do that. And I had no one there with me, no one to run the boxes, no one to taste and tell me what they think. It was just, it was a good day. Hey, Tina, can you bring me the charger, please? I got less than 10% left.
Good job charging your phone, Tina.
I think you've already answered this. Are you a one-man team or do you have helpers?
Right now, I am a one-man team. I have a friend, Dave Wall. When he has time, he would come out and help and run boxes. And in return, he gets to learn a little bit more about competition barbecue. When I go to the Royal this year, I would have my old partner back with me, Jonathan Price and Jim Belt, who is one of the ones who helped me get started. I think he's going to come out and hang out with me too. But for the most part, yes, I am a one-man team. And I don't wish that on no one. I mean, if you don't have to, don't do it. I mean, that's hard.
They're doing a comp solo is really hard.
Really hard.
Especially running your own boxes.
Exactly. The one that you always
is that one.
But I need the printer. Yeah. Speaking of running your own boxes, man, we was in Topeka You know, I mean, it is what it is. But man, that walk was at least 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So normally I would do certain things at certain times. I had to throw that out the door. Basically, when I got back to the trailer, I had to clean up and just go to the next meet. I mean, just like that. And if I didn't get called that day, I probably would have quit because it's like, why do this? But I mean, so you think about 4 minutes up, 4 minutes back, that's 8-minute walk. And you try to do all of these, meet in between. So
If you had to pick any other type of cooker for competition, what would it be?
I want so badly, you guys have to bear with me for a minute. I want so badly to go back to a stick burner, but it's not, a stick burner like you probably would have around your house. It would be like a Jambo per se. I would so rather go back to one of those one day, just because I think you can get some very good flavor off of those. And or maybe I'm looking at some of these big guys who uses those. Maybe that's the thing too. But I really want to try that one of these days. Something like a Jambo, because I know now, like 913, they're doing it again. Slap does it. Hunka Hunka does it. Railroad does it. There's a lot of team that uses those, and you just hear so much good thing about those stick burners and how the flavor comes off on it. So if I was to say going to one, it would be that.
What kind of trailer do you have? Is it a porch trailer or is it a?
Okay, I should be good now. What was that?
Do you have what kind of trailer do you have? Do you have a porch trailer or do you have just a utility or cargo trailer or do you have a?
I have a porch trailer. And I know me and Doug from Sublime Barbecue, we've been talking every time we see each other because, he built those. I think it's KC Smokers, I think it is. But he built those. And every time I see him and talk to him, I look at his but I also have to think about the catering part of it. I don't want to stoke wood catering, I want to say forget it because I know I could put pork butts on, go to sleep for 4 hours, wake up and wrap them, and I'm not going to do that with a stick burner. So,
No, those Jambos are nice though.
Yes, exactly. But the price tag is very nice too.
Yes, they are. Brian, you got anything else to add or any questions from people watching or?
Yeah, I don't.
How was your four-man burnt ends?
Four-man burnt ends were great. Beats a full brisket.
I'm cooked out today. We had leftover barbecue for supper, but I didn't cook today. That heat took it out of me yesterday.
Any competition questions out there? I hear crickets.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on here.
Chris Pally Dog, you got questions?
Yeah, it'd be a good one to ask.
Crickets.
Everybody's quiet tonight. I think we've answered everything I had.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Terrance.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I enjoyed it, guys.
I did too. Thanks for talking barbecue.
No problem. Anytime.
All right.
We'll get down to Topeka, do another meet and greet sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sound good, guys.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one.
You guys too.